This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. It is now 6:30 p.m. and we will begin our Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board of Directors meeting. And the first item we have on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 12th meeting. We have a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Okay, no changes? Okay, the minutes will stand as written. The next item on the agenda is the recognition of former board members. We have with us tonight Dr. Jerry Christian. Dr. Christian was appointed to the DART Board of Directors in 2007 by the City of Dallas. And while on the board, Dr. Christian served as the chairman of the Economic Opportunities and Diversity Committee and the Administrative Committee. In 2015 and 2016, Dr. Christian was elected DART Board Assistant Secretary. His wife, Aretha, is an avid DART bus rider, and we have watched Jerry's son grow from youth to a young man. We're happy to have you with us here tonight, Dr. Christian, and I'm going to recognize you in just a minute, but I would like to do it along with you and Ms. Pamela Dunlap Gates at the same time. So, Ms. Gates, I know you're here. If both you and Dr. Christian could stand. Thank you. Ms. Dunlap Gates. Ms. Dunlap Gates was appointed to the DART Board of Directors in 2006 by the City of Dallas. During her time on the board, Ms. Dunlap Gates has served as chair of the Audit Committee, Planning Committee, and as a vice chair to the Transit-Oriented Development Committee. Ms. Dunlap Gates was elected as Board Assistant Secretary in 2008. Pam's husband, Reginald, has been involved in the Dallas community for many years and an advocate for DART. We're so pleased to see both of you. We love you. We miss you tremendously. And if you would like to speak, I'll leave the mic open for you while I meet you down front.
Good evening, everyone, and I will be brief. I do want to apologize for my poor manners. I'd intended well before now to, and I will, I promise, Gary, send a note to DART officially to thank you all for my time on this board. It was a wonderful experience, one that I'll never forget. I will cherish forever. And I can name names from here to high heaven, but I won't tonight because I'll get in trouble. I'll overlook someone. But I do want to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to the rank and file of DART. Everybody, you guys were inspiring to me in a way that I will never description. You will never know. You guys, every day you go out, you do your jobs, you take care of the customers of this agency, and you do it with professionalism, you do it with enthusiasm that did not go unnoticed. I want you to know that as a board member, we got it. Mr. Christian, if you teach me, I can do your job, okay? So I do want to take this opportunity to make that special recognition to our rank and file, and I hope to see you all again. Thank you so very much for having me this evening.
The 10 years that I served on the DART board was a great experience. I learned a lot about transportation. I'm grateful to staff. We have one of the best staffs in the country. I'm grateful to Gary for being the best director of the agency throughout the nation. You're wonderful. Different from what Pam said, I do need to recognize a few people. First of all, I need to recognize her for being a mentor and a friend. And I need to recognize Faye, because when Faye became chair, I looked up and I was on every committee. And at the time, I did not know why, but later I discovered why. Thank you so much. And then there's a young man, he's a staunch Republican, and I'm a staunch Democrat. But one thing we learned working on the dartboard is that we could disagree without becoming disagreeable. Thank you, Mark, for being a good friend. But my best friend is Gary Slager. Every time I needed something, every time I needed to bounce something off of someone, Gary, you was there. It was my pleasure to be at your wife's homegoing celebration. I shall cherish it the rest of my life. To all of you, for 10 years, we understood that this was a regional transportation board and a regional transportation organization. It was not about Dallas. It was not about Rowlett. It was not about Plano. It was about what was best for DART and the people that we serve. I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I leave you with this because I am a pastor. And it's in the book of Genesis where Joseph spoke to his siblings. What man meant for evil, God meant it for my good. Thank you.
Thank you all for being part of that. Next item on the agenda, we'll get back to work here, is the CAC report on the September 21st, 2017 meeting.
Good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Schatz.
I'm Kay Schacht. At our September 21st meeting, we had a quorum of 10 out of 15 members present, including 2 new members, Sam Parson and Kevin Butler. We want to thank board members Wilkins and Killen for their appointments. We're very pleased to now have a full slate of active members. Our speaker this month was Rob Smith, the AVP DART Service Planning, who spoke to us about the March 2018 service change proposals. He informed us that most of the change recommendations are derived from the comprehensive operations analysis known as the COA. Part of the criteria for changes was that no added vehicles were to be used during peak times because of 41 new vehicles that will be delivered in 2019 and that will enable more extensive changes upon their arrival. The changes will focus on improvement of off-peak frequency, mobility on demand with 6 new service zones, service restructuring as identified in the COA, and an improved on-time performance and transfer connectivity, as well as allowing short breaks for bus operators. Mr. Smith explained in detail the changes and improvements and affected cities and routes, including a mobility on-demand pilot project in Riley, Kleberg, and Inland Port in the southern sector of Dallas. Public hearings are scheduled before final board action in November. Mobility on-demand actions may start in February, with other changes starting in late March 2018. Comments from CAC members were favorable for increases in frequency and connectivity and for added service in the Plano Legacy area. A member made a comment that the low ridership for Route 987 that is tagged to be discontinued is because the bus stops are too far apart and require walking for miles to get to them. A major concern voiced by CAC members is poor transit in the suburbs, especially at a time when cities in the service area are vying with other cities around the country to be the chosen site for Amazon's second headquarters, which could bring 50,000 new jobs to our area. Good public transit will not only be a plus if that happens, but a necessity, as it will be impossible to accommodate the additional employee pool with an already rapidly increasing population. As you, as board members, know, unlike the city of Dallas that had public transit for many decades before DART was established, our suburbs had nothing. The suburbs are still missing many necessary basics to enable efficient public ridership. We would like to see DART propose, outside the March 2018 changes, a plan to quickly and greatly improve its suburban transportation to help bring Amazon, Google, and other large corporations to our service area. One reason we're concentrating on talking about suburbs tonight is because we feel that they have the adequate property available to these extra large companies. They also have a good employee base, as does the city of Dallas, but they're close to the airport. They have adequate housing, but the questionable part is the public transit. The city of Dallas has so much better transit than, say, Irving or some of the other suburban cities where it's very, very hard to get around on the service. And we realize that it's easy to come before you and make these requests and suggestions, but you have to think about all the cities involved and the political circumstances, and especially the budget. And what we're hoping is that maybe you could work with the cities and chambers of commerce and maybe find some additional funds to help improve public transit in the suburbs and help bring these large corporations to our area. Thank you again for the time that you take away from your families, jobs, and other duties to help bring about our transit system that accommodates all and of which we can be proud.
Thank you, Ms. Shetson. Thank you for the work you do. The next item we have on the agenda is public hearing. It's a public hearing for the March 2018 service modifications. Okay, Rob Smith will be doing the presentation tonight. There are a few guidelines we need to work with in doing public hearings, so if you bear with me just a moment. Good evening, and thank you for attending tonight's public hearing. My name is Faye Wilkins, and I will be the hearing officer this evening. For your information, DART has not received a request for hearing impaired services at this public hearing. Therefore, we have not provided a sign language interpreter. We do, however, have a Spanish interpreter available. Is there anyone present that requires Spanish translation services? Okay, thank you, if you'd stay. Tonight's public hearing will be divided into two parts. The first part will consist of a brief overview on the project by DART technical staff. The public hearing will follow the presentation. During the public hearing, we must follow some guidelines. Pre-registered speakers will make their comments first, followed by sign-in speakers in the order received. Those who do not wish to speak may submit written comments. All comments will be included in the official public record. A DART board resolution has established a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers must address the topic of the hearing. Other subjects will not be allowed in the hearing. Questions, interchange, and discussions are not generally allowed in a hearing. However, if a board member wishes to raise a question, he or she may do so. Technical staff will be available after the public hearing for questions. Now, Rob Smith, Assistant Vice President of DART Service Planning, will make his presentation.
Thank you and good evening, and hopefully this will work. We're going to do something a little different tonight. Today's public hearing involves proposed March 2018 service changes. Public hearings are required for changes involving new routes, routes with modifications to at least 25% of their alignment, routes with a significant adjustment in service frequency, or a major change to destinations along the route. Focus of the March 2018 proposals include frequency improvements, new mobility on demand pilot service in 6 zones, and route changes for Route 400 and several Northeast Dallas routes. We also have several routes that we're proposing to discontinue that I'll also talk about. The off-peak frequency improvements in most cases will be to take routes that are running every 40 to 60 minutes and run them every 30 minutes. These are generally weekday midday, some in the evening, and some on Saturday and Sunday. 10 routes are affected, and they are listed on the slide here. Most of these are higher ridership routes with fairly good levels of peak service, but we were looking to improve the off-peak service. This is a map of the weekday routes that are affected by these proposals. And this is a map of the routes on weekends that are affected by these proposals. Mobility on Demand is a new pilot service that we're looking to introduce in 6 zones, 3 in Plano and 3 in the southern sector of Dallas. The project includes both new service and new technology. All zones include a mix of dedicated vehicles available 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., supplemental service, and technology. The Plano zones include from west to east the Legacy Zone and the growing Legacy employment area, the Far North Plano Zone, where we do not currently have fixed route service, and the North Central Plano on-call zone, an existing service zone that we would be expanding to include the Chase Oaks area. The southern sector zones include the Inland Port area that's in the city of Dallas, and the Riley and Kleberg zones in the far southeastern part of Dallas. We are proposing to replace Route 400 with 2 new routes, the 402 and the 403. The 403 covers the western part of the 400 from Irving Convention Center to Spring Valley Station. The 402 operates from downtown Carrollton to downtown Garland, and the section in the middle between Carrollton and Spring Valley would have both routes running with double the frequency of service. Northeast Dallas, we have several route changes. Route 24 would be broken into 2 routes. The part of the route running on Ross and McMillan would not be changed. The part of the route that runs on Capitol and Henderson would be broken off to create a new Route 84, which is shown on the right, that includes the 24 alignment from East Transfer Center to Mockingbird Station, and then the route would continue on Greenville Avenue north to Richland College. In Northeast Dallas also, Route 582, the section of the route serving Hamilton Park during peak periods would be replaced by a new Route 585, which would provide Hamilton Park service throughout the day, continue up to the Richland College area, and into Richardson, ending up at Arapahoe Station. There are 4 routes that would be discontinued under the proposal. Route 346 is a shuttle service in the Legacy area that would be replaced by the Mobility on Demand service. The 723 is the Bishop Arts service, a small shuttle that's at the end of the Dallas streetcar and it's served by other routes that connect to the streetcar. Route 842 is a Buckner Station-based flex service replaced by the Riley and Kleberg Mobility on Demand zones. And Route 987 is the rapid ride service in the Forest Lane corridor with local service available on all segments through Route 486 and portions of that corridor through Route 488. DART service planning staff are in attendance tonight to speak to riders or the public about these changes, and this concludes the technical presentation.
Thank you, Rob. Tonight's hearing is being recorded by a court reporter, so all comments received are a matter of public record. It is now 6:51 p.m., Tuesday, September 26, 2017. According to the requirements set forth in DART's enabling legislation, this public hearing on the March 28 DART service change proposals is now open to receive comments. To date, DART has received 8 written comments on the above issue. Any written comments received by the end of the hearing will be added to this total. We will begin to receive comments now. Please be reminded there's a 3-minute limit in which to make your comments, and please keep the comments on the subject of the March 2018 Service Change Proposal public hearing. Optional reminders for the audience. Other subjects may be presented during the public comment portion of our meeting agenda. So keep in mind that during this period of time, this is to discuss 2018 DART service change proposals only, and we'll come back to the additional public comments at the end of the meeting. Our first speaker is Ms. Phyllis Silver, followed by Donna Blameres.
By the way, the next speaker will be Donna Belmares.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm Phyllis Silver of Addison, Texas, and I'm here to talk about the service changes. I applaud many of the proposed changes. It is a good decision to split Route 400 into 2 separate routes. Currently, delays anywhere along Beltline Road impact a large number of riders using the route. Continuing to increase frequency during the midday and weekend is going to be helpful to riders. I would also like to see frequency increase on weekdays after rush hour. Too often I see riders after 6, 7, and 8 o'clock at night at the Addison Transit Center who just missed their connection and they have to wait almost 1 hour for the next bus. Also, now that the LBJ construction is completed, I want to renew my recommendation to have service on Hillcrest, especially between LBJ and Royal Lane. This would serve medical offices, houses of worship, and other facilities. Now, one proposal that I am very disappointed about is the elimination of Route 987. I know that my coworkers in Farmers Branch would echo my sentiments. I realize the 987 ridership is low. I am not a regular rider, but when I have taken the bus, I've enjoyed the quick ride. There are reasons why the ridership is low. Although it is scheduled to run every 15 minutes, often I waited 25 to 30 minutes for the eastbound bus in the afternoon. In the meanwhile, multiple 987s are traveling in the other direction. Also, the route was not that well publicized. One evening, late afternoon, I was at Medical City, Dallas, and a Brookhaven College student was waiting for a Route 486 bus to her college. She was not aware of the 987 until I told her about it. I think that DART could have worked with businesses and schools along the 987 route to encourage them to advertise within their organizations and also to their customers in order to build up ridership. DART could survey frequent 987 riders to find out what the problems are. I don't think that DART has given it its best shot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Silver. We now have Donna Belmares, followed by Timmy Shelton.
Want me up there now, Timmy?
After Ms. Belmares. Thank you.
As you notice, I've come in tennis shoes. I rode the 987 from 4050 Alpha Road
to here, where I caught the bus to the Forest Lane station.
Please get you at the mic and state your name and address, please.
Oh, I
Thank you.
apologize. I'm
Okay.
Donna Belmatis, and I'm in Garland, Texas. And as you noticed, I was wearing sneakers, and I took the 987 from 4050 Alpha Road to the Forest Lane station. I caught the train to come here to speak to y'all about this. Hello, dartboard. I have been riding the 987, the bus 987, since the first day of its introduction several years ago, starting from the downtown Garland to my destination Midway and Alpha Road. I understand that you wish to discontinue the 987 route due to poor performance. I'm here now speaking for the workers at the Federal Building off Midway and Alpha, that we like the 987 Express. And no, there's not a big ridership, but there are quite a number of women that do ride the bus. I was here a couple of years ago speaking for y'all, speaking to the dock board on behalf of the 987 to get a closer route so we could be able to get to a 987 stop, instead of crossing over Alpha Road. Okay, we enjoy the fact that there are fewer stops so we can get to our destination faster. Then my suggestion to you is to introduce the smart, I call them AKA Tonka buses. Introduce the smart buses to this route. I know you're concerned about the financial situation, but give it another chance. If big don't work, then make it little. Let's see what happens. My concern, okay, now we're getting down. If y'all choose to discontinue the 987, we will have to take the 486. Our concern, and my concern, is the type of people that ride the 486. Use of the language, they are inappropriately dressed for riding the bus, poor hygiene. Riding the bus 46 is a concern for us. And that's all I have to say. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Belmaris. Thanks for coming. We have Timmy Shelton, followed by Omar Jimenez.
Hi, I'm Timmy Shelton. I live at 13122 CF Hahn Freeway. I'm in Dallas County, but I'm also right at the borderline for Kaufman. I've already went homeless because I couldn't find a job, and now I've found one in collections, and that is permanent, and you might cancel my reliable transportation. Please don't cancel our service at 842 Flex Beltline. I have used it every day for 2 years now, and I've already seen 3 new faces riding the bus in the last a few months. There is a Sassafras 842 also, and I don't see it getting canceled, and we have more riders in that bus. There's also Glen Heights and Red Oaks. They get DART service. They're not even in Dallas. I had to ride my bike 4 miles to get to Masters to catch a bus before we got service. I'm 54 years too old for that. You already spent money putting in sidewalks for us. The driver has mentioned several times here recently, in the past few weeks, the bus is packed on all routes. Our bus runs 3 hours in the mornings and 3 hours in the evenings. I'm concerned no one can give me the information I need for the Go Link. That's what I've heard we're going to be replaced by. I've tried to inquire about that. They refer me to your website. I tried to get on the website. They say this page is not available. And in the past, when I tried to use your on-call service before we got a bus out there, I was told it's a first come, first serve, and there's no one to pick me up. I tried to call your van ride share. No one returned my call. Please keep our service at 842 Flex Beltline. If we lose it, how is my son ever to get home from Dallas when he needs to? I was reading in your press report for 2016 you received a $1.2 million grant from the Federal Transit Administration, so money should not be an issue. I know other flex buses that run more than ours and carry less people, even during rush hour. When will they start developing on our side of town? Until they do, don't take our opportunity away to get to our jobs. Our new driver, Mrs. Bridget Campbell, is dedicated. She volunteered to drive a bus with no AC and endured through the heat to make sure we had service. I'm asking the board to show their dedication.
Thank you, Ms. Shelton.
Oh, and I've tried to get information about the fair because the Green Line is going to be detoured somehow. All I get told is it's going to run every 15 minutes, or it's going to run every 20 minutes, or it's not going to change at all. And it's 2 days prior before the fair.
Okay, there's going to be technical staff here tonight, so once we're done with the public hearing, you'll be able to visit with someone face to face.
That's okay. I'll do what the customer service people said to
Okay.
do and call when it happens. Thank you. How will I know, how will we know your decisions on canceling our service?
Okay, no, there's someone here tonight who can talk with you.
I really want to get home. I'm sorry, I wake up at 4:30.
Okay, he can talk with you right now if you
Okay,
walk out
great.
this door.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, our next speaker is Omar Jimenez.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Omar Jimenez. I live at 1639 Cedar Bluff Lane, Dallas, 75253 in Kleberg. And I also want to address the changes coming up to the 842 while I have some concerns as well, because there could be some people that are left out not knowing about the new change. I, for once, might be the first people to know about this because I get the emails and the Facebook posts about the public hearings. But something that I've noticed back in Austin, riding the Capital Metro, they are going to do a system-wide change, which is called Reimagine 2025, I believe, or somewhere along those lines. And for routes that are being discontinued, there is a sign on the bus stop letting the riders know that that route will be discontinued. And below that are the pre-public hearings that are going to be happening for that particular route. And so I have not seen any of that on any DART vehicles from the time that this meeting was announced through online sources until now. I have not seen them on the trains, and so that is a big concern for a big change that's going to happen in our community. I would definitely like to see more service, and I think this is a good step because our surrounding areas have midday service, and Botch Springs with Star Trans is about to include Saturday service very soon. So I would like to see Saturday service as well, with whatever the change will be, if either keeping the 842 or going to the new on-demand system. I do support the new system, which of course I'm one of the few people that do have a smartphone, and you know, it's almost like the Uber, which is really cool, and I like the idea of it, but in an area that is very, very interesting to say, we have a very mixed population. It's going to be an education moment for DART to introduce this service for our community, because we've got people that have smartphones, they're web savvy, and then you got some that are not. And so when this service is introduced to our community, please post on the bus stops detailed information on this new service, because it is going to be a big change. And especially, I have ridden on that bus before with high school students and middle school students that go to Sigaville, both middle and high school. And so they may not know about this change that's going to happen. And so I would definitely appreciate more information coming out to the drivers in our area if the new changes happen. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. There are no other pre-registered speakers listed for this public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment? Is this regarding the public hearing, the 2018 service changes? It's general? Okay, thank you. We will come back to you. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the March 2018 service changes? I'm sorry? Okay, if you would, please. Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to turn in a written comment to be entered into the record? Any comments made after the close of the public hearing would not be part of the proceedings. Since there are no other speakers or written comments to be turned in at this time, I would like to thank you for attending this public hearing, which is now officially closed at 7:06 p.m. Thank you. Okay, it is now time for public comments. General public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each dartboard meeting for a total of 30 minutes, and again at the end of the meeting when the 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. Individuals who have addressed the board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that their behavior during dartboard meetings is governed by the Dartboard Code of Conduct for citizens, news media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent and slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate when you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates your time has expired. Our first speaker this evening is Mr. William Dockery, followed by Thomas Whitehead.
William Dockery, 4326 Gaston Avenue, your favorite videographer, I hope. I suggest strongly that you take your customer service and open it up on the weekends. 2 Saturdays ago, I was leaving Riverside Park from their event, and I think it's the 29 bus arrived right on time at my stop. Unfortunately, it never bothered to stop. It left me there. By the way, that is a federal crime. I am over 65, I am disabled, and that's considered abandonment by putting your own rules and regulations together. I would like to get the driver's name, rank, and serial number, whatever it takes, and I will like to file federal charges on this driver. I think this has happened on several other routes. You're always on the weekends, so evidently your drivers know no one's going to follow up because no one's followed up with my phone call. It took 7 minutes just to get to your customer service. Thank you.
Mr. Dockery, before you leave tonight, will you visit with Mr. Tim Newby? Okay, thank you. Next, we have Thomas Whitehead, followed by Chilean Qawalli.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Whitehead. I'm retired from DART. I'm a veteran, and I'm unemployed. I have tried several times I've been gone for about a little over 3 years now, and I was just wondering, when you leave here, I've seen people come back, but, I don't seem to be getting no kind of acknowledgement at all. I remember one time when I was working, I had a 8-year-old girl and 2 9-year-old twin boys on my bus, 515 line. I was stranded with these kids were just abandoned on my bus. I sit there with these kids, and I think I did a pretty good job while I was here. I got an award, I got a little check and everything, just for that incident. But I know it's something that can be done, just like the man that got beat down on the train, you know. I see DART, they seem like they spend a lot of money doing things, and you still don't see no results. So why don't I qualify for something like that or some other kind of job, you know? That's what I don't understand, you know. I know DART ain't no prejudiced company, because if they were, I wouldn't have been here 17 years. So I'm just wondering, you know, what is it going to take for me to be acknowledged as, to be acknowledged for gainful employment again? I'm not over the hill, I can still work. But I'm not getting no responses at all. Nobody. I've been down and I've been to the computer a couple of times, but I'm not really a computer person. I'm just not really just getting no consideration at all for the time that I spent here. And it's a lot of people that have left here that has returned here, probably for worse things than what I've done since I've been here. The only thing I did was I was forced into retirement. And that was before my time, when I had planned to retire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Our next speaker is Chilean Qawalli, followed by William Speranio. Okay, thank you. Sir,
yes, ma'am.
You're right after this lady.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hello, I'm Chilean Qawalli, and I'm here to talk about the rate hikes for seniors, disabled seniors. I live on $800 a month, and that includes $61 food stamps. I cannot pay more for my bar. I don't have a car. I have no other way of transportation. And it just doesn't seem fair to me that you want to raise it from $40 to $48. That would be 1/16th of my monthly income. That's just not right. I also am not in favor of expanding DART services in other areas until you have improved the service that we have in our local areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Qawalli.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, it's your turn now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Followed by Al Angel.
Yes, I've been doing the DART transportation for almost 19 years. And back in 98, 99, you used to have a bus traveling on Hillcrest through Frankfurt. But now I have to walk down all the way to Coit to catch the bus down on Frankfurt to be able to catch it. Is there any chance where you guys can add another route down to Hillcrest?
I need you to visit with Mr. Rob Smith.
Okay, and the other concern I have is the faring concern. A gentleman by the man I just met today named Taylor, he just explained to me that, well, what I was really shooting for was that Arlington would get DART service there. Is that somebody to talk to? What's his name again?
Yes, sir, Rob Smith. He would be the man to talk to. He has his hand raised back here in the corner.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman, I do want to recognize you and your entire group from the city of Addison. So I'm going to take just a quick minute to introduce you, if you could remain standing. And then we have Mayor Pro Tem Ivan Hughes. And we have Councilman Paul Walden, Councilman Lori Ward, Councilman Tom Braun, and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Jim Duddy. Did I miss anyone? City Manager Wes Pearson. Sorry, I should not have missed you, but you didn't have on the right attire tonight. Very pleased to have y'all joining us tonight. Thank you. Now it's your turn, Councilman. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Mr. President, I am Al Angel from Addison, 14520 Wynwood Road. Last week, I had the privilege of attending an open house that introduced the upcoming Cotton Belt. And if you think I'm up here with a yellow shirt to make any complaints, I have some land in West Texas to sell you. It was a very excellent presentation. I commend three attributes. Number one, professionalism, because of the quality of presentation by DART executives, supported by maps, charts, photos, and a video. Secondly, transparency, because of the thoroughness of the information provided. And finally, accountability, because complete and candid answers were provided during the closing Q&A session. So these are the three things I wish to commend for this presentation: professionalism, transparency, and accountability. And if you have not attended one of these open houses, I encourage you to do so, because I believe you'll be very, very pleased. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming. Now, Councilman Hughes, followed by Councilman Walden.
Thank you for having us, and as you've noticed, we're back. I've only got two messages, and I'm not going to use too many words. But as you've noticed, our entire council is here in person, except for the mayor, who, by the way, is out of the country. Our city manager is here, and assistant city manager, a number of residents from Addison. And so I'm thinking I need to use very few words, because I hope that the fact that we came really will underline two things. One, how important the Cotton Belt and D2 is to us. And it's a continuation of a message. We've come several times with the same shirts. It's always the Cotton Belt and D2. We support DART and regional transportation. So that's the first message. That is so important to us. And the second message that I'm hearing just over and over is a deep appreciation for all you've done. We appreciate the staff work. We appreciate the public hearings. We appreciate all the time that each of you has spent talking with us. And by the way, we appreciate our friends in other DART cities who have also been supportive. So thank you very much. We are deeply appreciative of how this is coming together.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for coming.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Director, members of the board. My name is Paul Walden. It's my pleasure to serve the citizens of Addison as member of the City Council. I want to echo my colleagues' comments, and I was particularly taken by Dr. Christian's comments earlier and his recollections of service on the board, 10 years, and his while he was a board member from the city of Dallas, he was very sensitive and cognizant that this was a regional transportation entity. And I look on the board and I see whole people who look different than me and come from different walks of life and look like my community. I mean, the community of the greater Dallas area. And this kind of strikes me as almost a tie that binds, something that we can unify around, something that can serve us, and we can bring together many diverse interests. And I think about, sometimes families get into disagreements and arguments. Doesn't mean we still don't love each other. And so I want to share that I've appreciated the cooperative spirit, the spirit of compromise that I think is somewhere lacking in today's political environment from time to time. And And I think that that this board has worked very hard to come together on and find some common ground. I want to congratulate you on your good work for the upcoming budget and financial plan. You know, I always, as elected official, also we work very hard on this, and it's always kind of great to take that deep breath and go, we've got the budget passed, you know, which is the direction for the community, whatever the community is. And so thank you for all of that. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to the Cotton Belt. Addison is on board with regionalism. You can count on us. We want to be part of the team. So thank you all for your good work.
Thank you, Councilman. And to the entire Addison City Council, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager, Assistant City Manager, we appreciate your support. Thanks for coming. Okay, our next speaker is Dick Rivas, followed by Martha Marshall.
I'm Dick Rivas. I'm a retired journalist, live near the Inwood station. For about the last month or 6 weeks, I've been spending one evening a week trying to get writers to sign petitions opposing the fare hike that you've proposed. I want to tell you that several times a day people tell me thank you for doing this. But I've had 2 or 3 people complain in almost the same words. They say, I'm for the fare hike. That would keep some of the riffraff off. I'm identifiably white. No non-white has ever said that to me. I want you to know if you raise the fares, what sector of the population will be most pleased. The other thing I want to say, and I should have introduced this by, in journalism we say if somebody doesn't like your story, it's not journalism. So I don't expect y'all to enjoy everything I say. I didn't know anything about bus drivers. I ride the rail mainly, until I came to the last meeting and they were asking for plastic cages to protect them. And I didn't know what to think of it till tonight. And I go through security, got to empty my pockets, just like at an airport. If that's what it takes y'all to feel that you're safe, I'm glad you feel safe. But there are more people stoned out of their heads on K2 who get on any bus or any train in Dallas in a day that come through on K2 in these meetings in a year. So I think you ought to look at it from that point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now have Martha Marshall, followed by Robin Kirk. Is Martha Marshall here? No Martha Marshall? Okay, Robin Kirk, followed by Alex Telecki.
Hello. I've talked to you a couple times. I just want to reiterate, as you can see by my shirt, I'm still against the fare hike. Haven't changed my position on that. I think that, in light of the vote at the last meeting, this is a great time for the board to focus on expanding service, expanding ridership. It's kind of an exciting time to attract new riders, which is a way better way for DART to make money than overcharging current riders. It's a new day, we've got a new board. Don't rely on an old financial plan that's super regressive when you could be focusing on the changes to the lineup, the proposed expansions in the future that will attract new riders. You're appointed by our elected officials. You're our best democratic link. That's why we keep coming in front of you, because you're not appointed by staff. You're appointed by the people we elected. And we look to you to protect writers more than we look to staff to do that, frankly. Like, you are our democratic link. This is a voting issue for a lot of us. We're looking at who our council is appointing. We're pretty upset if this fare hike just goes through because we know it's so unpopular. There's especially not voter support for elements like raising fares for reduced regional riders. These are kids and seniors, 140% with no rollout. I know that you guys can do better than that, even if you have to hike fares for some riders. 140% all at once, you're probably going to knock out most of the ridership in that sector. The people who ride regionally, who depend on DART, who made life decisions based on the idea that they wouldn't be hit with these gigantic fares, will see their monthly passes jump from $40 to $96 all at once. I'm sure there's a way for staff to roll that kind of a change out. Also, to address the trade school issue, trade school students, we were told that it was difficult for DART to work with trade schools, so they're just going to scrap the entire program. I bet that the board can figure out some kind of way to work with some of those trade school programs and really help those people that are not able to make as much money because they're working on their education. I'd love to see this board listen to the voters, listen to the riders, and kind of dig into some of these especially regressive changes and see some better work on this whole fare restructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kirk. Thanks for coming. Alex Telecki, followed by Belinda Berry.
Hi, my name is Alex Telecki, and I live in McKinney, Texas. In McKinney, we have the minimum legally required amount of public transit, which is just on-demand paratransit. Like a lot of cities in the Metroplex, not yet part of DART, we badly need public transit. I'm here to speak against the proposed fare hike because when McKinney joins DART, and someday we will, we want everyone in our city to be able to afford to use it. At the last DART board meeting, the DART board decided to put the agency deep in debt to build two big, daring expansion projects, the D2 and the Cotton Belt lines. And I'm not saying either of these two projects should or shouldn't happen. I live in a suburb. I know that working people in the suburbs need public transit too, public transit that connects us to our jobs and our schools. Retired people in the suburbs need public transit to connect to medical services, family, and friends, but the D2 and Cotton Belt projects, whatever you think of them, are each going to cost a huge amount of money, and DART still chose to build both of them because both projects are backed by powerful people with a lot of money to spend campaigning for big, costly, risky infrastructure projects that they and their investments stand to benefit from. The majority of people who actually use DART don't have that kind of time and money. Without any group advocating to you, the DART board, for the interests of the majority of your riders, in the same way that developers advocate to you for their interests, raising fares a steady 20% every 5 years starts to look inevitable and not like a couple of arbitrary numbers written by a previously appointed set of DART board members in their 20-year plan, but a law of nature. 20% every 5 years is much higher than the rate of inflation. Wages aren't rising 20% every 5 years. The last time the minimum wage went up was in 2009. If you choose to institute this fare hike, it will reduce ridership, it will eat up even more of the fixed incomes of people using reduced fare and paratransit, it will deepen poverty and inequality in this city. We're asking you to please expand your imaginations and be as daring for the benefit of most of your ridership, people for whom DART is a necessity and not a luxury, as you were when you approved the D2 and Cotton Belt projects. So when your ridership stands in front of you to ask you not to raise fares, please listen to them. Please say no to the DART fare hike.
Thank you, Ms. Telecki. Next, we have Belinda Berry, followed by P. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Belinda Berry. I'm here tonight. I spoke before about a month or more ago. concerning some things that has happened to me. For instance, today at 8:50 a.m. At the Westmoreland train, getting out the 404, the Parker Road train was there with the doors open. A couple girls ran and got on the train by me having a boot on my foot. I was unable. Got close to it, finna push the button, the train operator drove off. Okay, on that same train, got downtown here in front of your Ackert station at 9:37 a.m. They were letting people off the train. There's a lady in the wheelchair and there's someone pushing her. The doors closed and she was just waiting to let the people off because she couldn't get on. You know, your train operator drove off. She was pushing the button. The doors closed and they drove off. Another incident happened on more sensitive nature to me on August 21st of this year at 5:18 down in the tunnel of City Place. I got on the getting on the platform, catching the Westmoreland train at 5:18 p.m. And as the train was pulling up, this young man, about 20, dressed in black pants, black shirt, with white writing on the top of his shirt and on the back, felt on my butt. I called I was on the train at the Tyler Vernon station with your fare enforcer, STITES, and she told me I can call DART. So when I got to the Hampton station, like at 6:10 p.m., I called the DART station and got a sergeant, told the sergeant what happened, and I need those tapes pulled from City Place at 5:18 p.m. catching the red line Westmoreland train. I called back. She said she'll have to review the tapes. I called back a couple days later. The next day, they said, "What's the name of the sergeant you spoke to?" I said, "All calls are recorded. I'm filing a complaint." No one has gotten back to me today. I've called like 3 or 4 times. No one's getting back to me. Well, what was the sergeant's name? I told him the time. I told him the date. I said, "You need to pull that up." Recording to see what that sergeant's name was. I don't know what to do.
Well, Ms. Berry, we're going to help you tonight. I want you to visit with Mr. Tim Newby there. And Tim, when you finish, if you could make sure she visit with Mike Holbrook as well as Lieutenant Lindsay. Okay, thank you. Next we have P. Walker, followed by Cesar Segura.
Yes, I'm here tonight to address you about the fare hike. And the one thing I want you all to remember, when you go into your fast food restaurants and your drugstores now, and like your Walmarts, the people that are working in there now are no longer your teenagers or college students. These are many times your elderly people that's over 65, 70, and 80 years old, and also heads of households. These are people, in many instances, for a variety of reasons, are not able to own a car. And DART and the rail is their only transportation. The transportation to go to the drugstore, to go to do laundry, to go to the doctor, the dentist, grocery stores. They're on and off the bus and train all day long, trying to lug bags of groceries and laundries and doing whatever they need to do in their lives. And you ask them now for a rate hike that many cannot afford this. Now let's look at something right now. Depending on the time of day, say they may have to board a bus at 8 a.m. in the morning, so they don't qualify for the reduced pass. And they don't get out until maybe later in the afternoon. So they have to pay $3 in the morning and $3 in the evening. And then depending on what they have to do again, you have to remember there's connection times. Maybe they get off of work late in the evening, they have to buy another, if they had the ticket in the afternoon, and the connection, the last bus downtown is 12:20, they're going to have to buy another ticket again. So that's $9 for a day, depending on what they have to do. Also, you're asking them to pay more, and they receive less. Let's look at the trolley at City Place. I call it the party trolley. This is the trolley that goes down uptown, in front of all the upscale restaurants, in front of Hotel Zaza, in front of the Ritz Hotel. But you don't ask any of those people that live in that area to pay, but you ask the working people to pay. Let's look at the Bishop Arts. All the new businesses that's over there in the upscale lofts and apartments, you don't ask any of them to pay. They can go to the grocery store in Uptown. They can get on the trolley. They can go to Whole Foods. They can go to the drugstore. They can do whatever they need to do in their lives and don't have to pay. But the working poor has to pay. And you have to pay for things and less service because, let's face it, early in the morning you can get on the bus at 5 a.m. in the morning, in the very first bus, and the bus is filthy. It hasn't even been cleaned. I know my time is up, but there's many, many more things that I would like to address, but I will address it in another.
No, while you're here, if you could visit it with Roth Smith. Okay, he's right over here. Okay. Our next speaker is Seja Shigura.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hi, good evening.
Mi asunto es una queja que tengo porque me hicieron una injusticia en el tren.
My issue today is I have a complaint because there is a situation that I encountered on the train.
Yo llevaba un pase en blanco que me dan mis trabajadores sociales en un programa que estoy.
I had with me a blank voucher that is given to me by my social workers.
Me subí al tren, pero yo desgraciadamente no los había usado en el tren y lo llevaba en blanco. Y la inspectora me lo rompió.
I got on the train with this blank ticket. Unfortunately, I did not know how to use it. When the train inspector came to me and I showed her my blank ticket, she ripped it.
Luego me dio un ticket.
And then I was given a ticket.
Y eso me está causando problemas porque todavía hasta la fecha no lo he podido resolver.
And this is causing me problems because up to this date I have not been able to resolve this.
Bueno, yo considero de que sí son errores que tienen los trabajadores, como a veces los pilotos que se pasan, bueno, no tienen su horario como debe de ser.
Repita, por favor, no lo entendí.
Tengo también otros problemas de que en una ocasión estaba aquí en la parada del 21.
I also have additional concerns. At one occasion, I was here at the stop 21.
Llegué, esperé según el horario que estaba ahí.
I got there and I waited according to the hour and the schedule that was there posted on the wall.
Llegó el horario primero, no pasó. Esperé el otro, al siguiente, no pasó. Hasta en el tercero que pasó y desgraciadamente me hicieron perder una cita con un médico.
My concern is I was waiting for my ride. The first scheduled time came and went and no ride. The second hour came and went and no ride. The third scheduled time came and went and no ride. My concern is this delay and this lack of transport arriving on time has caused me to miss doctor appointments.
Bueno, he tenido otro problema hasta incluso por eso de que no respetan los horarios. En una ocasión hasta tuve problema en un trabajo.
I also have other concerns with the hours not being respected. The hours of arrival are posted and the ride does not arrive. I've even had problems with work because of arrival times not being respected.
Okay, we'll start with the ticket issue first.
Vamos a empezar con el problema de su ticket.
Chief Addison will help with that.
Okay.
And once you're finished with Chief, if you could, what's Lisa's last name? If you could refer them to Lisa Taylor.
Lo van a
Okay.
referir con una señorita llamada Lisa Taylor.
Okay.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
No, eso es todo.
Yes.
Gracias.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers for the beginning of the meeting. We will come back at the end of the meeting to complete our public comments. Next item on the agenda are consent items. None of the consent items were requested to be removed from the consent items, so we will take items 6 through 13 at one time. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for the consent agenda. That's items 6 through 13. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, items pass unanimously. Next item on the agenda, item number 14, came through the audit committee, same night item. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 14 is an approval of the 2018 goals and performance measures for the Director of Internal Audit. This came through the audit committee as a same night item and was approved unanimously. I move for its approval.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and second for item number 14. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, the item passes unanimously. Next item came through the administrative committee, item number 15, Mayor Stouffer.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 15 is a contract for the State Legislative Council Services, and this came through our committee. There was some discussion on it, and I would move its approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second from item number 15. All in favor, say aye.
Discussion?
Discussion, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I wanted to put on the record that I plan to abstain from the vote, but that it is no reflection on the law firm involved, just about the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cross. Sorry, I didn't see you down there. Any further comments? Okay, we're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And we do show one abstention. Thank you. Next item, item number 16, came through the Budget and Finance Committee. Mayor Slagle.
Yes, item number 16 is for the approval of fiscal year 2018 annual budget. I do move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second for item number 16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the item passes unanimously. Item number 17, also Mayor Slagle.
Yes, this is, I move approval of fiscal year 2018 20-year financial plan that came through the the Finance Committee and was passed unanimously as well.
Okay, we have a motion and second for item number 17. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, item 17 passes unanimously. That completes our voting items tonight. We will now go back to the public comments, and we still have, I think, 5 people that signed up to speak, well, actually 3. So we'll start with Mr. Durler.
Good evening, dartboard, officers. My name is Albert Durla, Recording Secretary, ATU Local 1338. Here to pick up where I left off last time. One issue I didn't get to tell you about. First issue is hiring of big bus external operators when you had smart bus operators that were qualified and did not get picked for the position when they applied for it. Second issue is the safety and security. Transit police response time is not good. It takes 30 minutes or longer for the transit to arrive at scenes when called by operators. When an operator pushes the silent alarm, bus dispatch will keep trying to call that operator, and the purpose of the silent alarm is not to call the operator because the operator does not want the passenger to know that they're calling the police because it could put their life in jeopardy. Police just need to catch up with the bus in a timely manner to check on the operator. This is the purpose of the silent alarm, not to call the operator, but when they see that alarm, when bus dispatch and transit police see that alarm go off, they know it's an EA. They just need to catch up with the operator wherever he's at. They have a GPS. They can catch his operator to find out if the operator is all right or not. Third issue, this is the one I was going to hold from the earlier, is the 987 route that's being discontinued. This route has heavily ridership from the Forest Lane station to Forest Lane, Aldelia. And the reason why it has heavily ridership is because these passengers, it's a limited stop route. These passengers ride this bus. For one, the 488 and the 486 is overcrowded, and they don't want to ride that because, like they said, it's an overcrowded bus. Fourth issue, I'm not seeing the 346 and 842 being discontinued and making these passengers that rely on these routes to catch mobility services. These are regular passengers. They're already running smart buses. These passengers rely on this route every day to get to work. And if you rely on mobility management to pick them up, we already know how that works. I shouldn't have to go into detail. My fifth issue and final issue, I just want to ask one question. Back in the 90s, I remember seeing TV commercials advertising bus routes, but right now it's all focused on the DART rail. Whatever happened to advertising routes that go by attractions? Advertising them on TV. I remember one back in the 90s. I'll never forget this one. The Route 400, I know it's changing, but the Route 400 used to advertise that because it went by Valley View Mall, it went by Galleria Mall, the 486 goes by Galleria Mall. It used to advertise these routes. DART can afford to advertise these routes, and maybe if you advertise these routes, you won't have to cut the service. DART used to do that, but that went away. Why? Because they're focused on the rail. They need to advertise the bus routes as well. The bus routes is what feeds the rail. If it wasn't for the bus routes, DART rail won't be operating. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Darla. Next, we have Ms. Sherilyn Samuel, followed by Taylor Chrysler.
Sherilyn Samuel, 2225 Swansea Drive. I am a 25-year employee with DART, but tonight I'm representing as the president of the A. Philip Randolph Dallas chapter. On last night, we had our first meeting. And the meeting was the Public Riders Coalition of the Southern Sector. We're tired, we're fed up. As long as some people have been on the board, you should be tired and fed up too, with us coming down here complaining. The same complaints over and over and over. Well, on last night, I was so excited at the end of our meeting. The doors opened at 6:30 p.m. We did not exit Cornerstone Baptist Church until 8:45. We had passengers, we had rail operators, we had bus operators, and we all sat down and talked about different issues. Our passengers left there more informed on why we have to do certain things. When you tell me, once I leave the bay, not to stop anymore, but I see a senior citizen that happened to need my bus, but I got to continue on, that's a problem. When people board our buses full of the K2, begin to mess with the passengers, and we hit the silent alarm, they start ringing the phone, putting not just my life in jeopardy, but everyone on that coach. We're tired. Things need to change. This company needs to be more concerned about the operators, the people that's working out in the field. Just this morning, had a man, I think he's first cousin with Donald Trump. I got called the B word. Told him, you can't ride this bus. So he jumps on the train at Cedar Station, ride to West End, where that's the end of the line for me, and come to my bus and begin to start it again. I refused to move the bus until somebody come and see about me. Well, when the police got there, they told me I should have informed them earlier so that they could have gotten him. Now they can't do nothing. But they would have gave him a no trespassing ticket. The law changed on September the 1st. They can carry long knives now. So what's going to happen? I'm going to be cut up before y'all decide to do something. These people back here, I'll see y'all when y'all get your services that you want, because those same folks going to ride your trains and your buses.
Thank you, Ms. Samuel. Next, we have Taylor Chrysler.
Hi. The dartboard needs to stand up for its riders and oppose the fare increase. I'd also urge them to consider a free or reduced fare for low-income riders. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for coming. That concludes our agenda this evening. Was there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. DeBoss, what's your last name? Christians, I had it right. Come on down.
Board, how you doing? I wasn't intending to speak, but listening to the comments that I heard a few minutes ago, it's mind-boggling to me. I think the last time I was here, I asked you, when was enough enough? See, me and Mr. Day, president of ATU, Acclimated Transit Union, we argue and fight every day, consisting of DART. I say, Day, this is a profit for hire company. They said, boss, you're wrong. This is a non-profit organization. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. I said, Dave, you're wrong. It's about the money. See, because since I've been here 18, 19 years now. To me, it's always been about the people, the ridership, the customers, the passengers. That's what it's always been about to me. Now, my issues are their issues. Now, I heard your people saying we're going to cut ridership. And I talked to Mr. Day. I said, Dave, what's wrong with this picture? I said, why did we create Smart Bus? Smart Bus was intended for low ridership routes. So when you use Smart Buses for big ridership routes, that's a problem. But yet you're talking about coming in, taking away from the people that ride the buses, whether there's 5 or 10, maybe there's 1 or 3. Smart Buses was created for low ridership routes. So maybe my English ain't that good. Maybe I don't speak Spanish. Maybe my German just ain't where it's supposed to be. But it's something wrong with the picture that y'all portraying out to the public, because it's supposed to be about the people, for the people, in regards to helping the people. Now I hear people talking about they can't get to work. They can't get to the hospital. They can't get to the grocery stores. But DART is supposed to be about the ridership of the people, to be able to provide these necessary services for the people. But yet we're still talking about taking away from the people. So my question to you is, we created a smart bus for low ridership routes for nothing other than low ridership routes, and yet we doesn't utilize them for what they're for. We want to go back and take away from the people. Now, when I was at the City Hall, I heard them talking about things that are related to DART consisting of the people. Sooner or later, board, you're going to have to figure out the reason why you sit in these chairs today are cause of the people that ride the services of DART. That's the reason why you're here today. That's the reason why you do what you do. And all I'm asking you to do is take care of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Thanks for speaking. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, sir. If you would state your name, please.
My name is Goran Merrick, and I live at Wiley, Texas, 920 Fleming Street. My mother is a disabled person, kidney failure end stage, and she's also on SSI. It's about $800, no, $730. Okay, and she receives the food stamps about $90. And I'm not just listening about this lady who said that, you know, we are going to increase from $40 to $95. You are taking food off the mouth of these people. You understand? I really don't understand what is the purpose of the city than to serve the people, but to serve the least ones, the ones who need the most, not the ones who have, or for pleasure. That's what, when I think about civilization, I think about how do we help the poor, the one that needs the most. Please help the people who need the most. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. If you would fill out your card there. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, thank you. It is now 7:58 p.m. and the meeting stands adjourned.
Ms. William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We love comments. If you don't like the way DART is handling things, lay it out for everyone to see. If you like or hate this video, tell us. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, tell us. We even love it when you call. Better yet, like or follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube and get instant notices of all our videos the moment they are